How's it going, everybody? Hope that you're all having an amazing day. So Apex Legends Season 14 patch notes have just finally officially been released, and in this video we are going to break them all down right here as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to have gameplay playing in the background while I read through these patch notes here, so you can feel free to set your phone down or go and do something else while you listen to these patch notes. But let's go ahead and cut this plug and get right into it. So we all know the new legend is Vantage in Season 14, and I'm fairly certain that we are all aware of what her abilities are, but just in case, I'm going to quickly read over them right now, starting with her passive, which is Spotter's Lens. This is going to make it where you aim down sights to scout with your eyepiece. You can do this unarmed or with mid to long range scopes. And this is going to also allow you to use a bullet drop indicator to see exactly where your shots are going to land. I'm interested to see how the bullet drop indicator plays out, and I'm kind of worried that it's going to throw off my sniper shots more than it's going to help them, but we'll definitely have to play that by ear and see how it plays out. But moving on to her tactical, which is called Echolocation. This is going to position your bat, Echo, and then it is going to allow you to launch towards him. You must have a line of sight to Echo in order to launch. And finally, her ultimate is called Sniper's Mark. This is going to allow you to use her custom sniper rifle to mark enemy targets, which is going to apply a damage bonus for you and your team. They have also reforged King's Canyon, and there are so many map changes, there's no way I could cover them all in this video. As a matter of fact, I made another video entirely a few weeks ago going over all of the changes. So if you're interested in that, I will have a link to that up in the corner as well as in the description. But moving on to the level cap increase, they have made it to where you will now be able to get your count to level 500 and then prestige it a total of 3 times. This means that you're going to have an effective maximum level of 500 tier 3. This increase is going to add 345 additional Apex packs that are earnable via account leveling. And this basically ensures that everyone is going to be able to earn an heirloom by playing the game. The total number of Apex packs that are now earnable just from account leveling is now 544. Moving on to Battle Pass changes, they have made it to where the challenges can now be completed in either Battle Royale or non-Battle Royale modes, which is great because I gotta be honest, nobody was completing the arena challenges, which is probably what the data was telling them, which is probably why we have this change coming in. So it's good to see that it's coming in. But moving on to some ranked changes, the entry cost is going to be +5 to all ranks in all divisions, and kill ranked points have been made to where they've removed diminishing returns on eliminations. So for this rank reset, there's going to be no change. It's resuming ranked reset of 6 divisions. So they're going back to knocking us down 6 divisions rather than 4, which is kind of upsetting, to be honest. But moving on to some other balance updates, starting off with laser sights. These are a new attachment to replace barrels for SMGs and pistols. What these are going to do is they are going to reduce your hipfire spread. And for the care package rotation, you got the G7 Scout and the Volt SMG coming out, and the Bocek and the Rampage LMG being put in. And for the crafting rotation, you have the Wingman and the car coming out, and the Devotion LMG and the RE45 plus Hammer Point combo entering the crafter. Moving on to the gold weapon rotation, you have the Longbow DMR, G7 Scout, Mozambique, R99, and Hemlock. The Longbow DMR is my favorite sniper in the entire game, so you know we're going to be popping off with that this season. Let me know down in the comments if there's any of these other gold weapons that you're excited to run into. But moving on to some SMG and assault rifle changes, they have made it to where the base hipfire spread has been increased. So you shouldn't be such a laser with hipfire with either SMGs or assault rifles anymore. So keep an eye out on that. Moving on to the EVA 8, the most controversial change of the season, if you ask me. It has had recoil improvements. It now takes stocks. They've removed one pellet from the blast pattern, but they've increased the fire rate to 2.3 from 2.0. The pellet damage has also been increased to 7 from 6, and the bolt rate of fire bonuses have been increased. The whites have been increased. The whites actually remain the same, but the blues and the purples have both been increased. This is absolutely insane. EVA 8s are going to be popping off all season. I'm calling it right now. This gun is getting nerfed before the season ends. But moving on to the Bocek compound bow, which is the weapon that's going into the care package. It's going to have its damage at full draw increased to 70 from 60. The tempo draw speed has been increased as well to 0.38 from 0.32. Shattercap's pellets damage has been increased from 12 to 11. Fired arrows can no longer be collected though, and arrow spawns have been removed from the floor, obviously because this is a care package weapon. Moving on to the second care package weapon, which is the Rampage LMG. This has had its damage increased to 28 from 26, and it comes with a thermite grenade so you can charge it off right from the care package. Moving on to the Volt SMG, which has had its damage reduced to 15 from 17, and the Car SMG, which no longer is going to take any barrel attachments. The G7 Scout has also been changed and had its damage reduced to 34 from 36. Its headshot multiplier has been reduced to 1.75, and the double tap hop-up burst fire delay has been increased to 0.4 from 0.375. The L-Star has seen some changes as well with increased projectile speed. They've also increased the number of shots before you overheat at base to 24 from 20. And they've removed the bright red flash that you get when you're hitting non-armored targets. The RE45 has seen some changes as well. They've increased the iron sight field of view to 70 to be consistent with other pistols, and they've also increased the strafe speed by 5% to be consistent with other pistols. Moving on to the Wingman, which is now, as we all know, using sniper ammo and magazines. But as for sniper ammo, the sniper ammo inventory stacks have been increased to 28 from 24. Sniper ammo boxes also now contain 14 rounds instead of 12. The Spitfire has had its recoil adjusted to increase its vertical barrel climb, and the Spitfire now uses light ammo and magazines. The 30-30 repeater has had the dual loader worked into the base 30-30 repeater, and it also takes a skull piercer rifling. That's absolutely insane. The 30-30 is going to be nasty this season. Moving on to the Mastiff, though, it has had its projectile growth reduced, its base fire rate reduced to 1.1 from 1.2, and the dual loader has been removed. The Sentinel has had Deadeye's tempo being worked into the base Sentinel, and that is it for all of the weapon changes. There was a lot there. Moving on to the hop-ups, though, the double tap adds burst fire mode to the EVA 8 and the G7 Scout, so the double tap is coming back to the floor. Same with the Skull Piercer, which adds 35% headshot damage on the longbow, wingman, and the 30-30. They've also removed Deadeye's tempo and Shattercaps from the floor loot, and boosted loader has been reduced down to the epic quality from the legendary at which it used to be. We all have heard by now the backpack and knockdown shield swap, essentially. So moving on to the Arc Star, which they have reduced the stick damage on armored foes to 10 from 40. They've also removed the aim slow on stick, but the aim slow still remains on detonation. Speaking of detonation, the damage for detonation has been increased to 75 from 70. Some explosive holds changes includes they've added blue attachments to this possible spawns, and they've also added laser sights to the pool coming out of the explosive holds. Another thing they've also done there is they've reduced the spawn rate of gold magazines, which is a good thing because those used to be basically guaranteed gold mag of some sort. Moving out of that section and into the next section, though, we have legends. Starting off with Valk, her VTOL jet's acceleration on activation has been decreased by about 8%. Her fuel consumption on activation has been increased by 33%. Aerial boosting and strafing take a 20% debuff when you are hit by slowing effects, and they've added a third orange state to the fuel meter UI between green at above 60 and red below 30. As for her missile swarm, they've made it to where her aim/turn slow has been removed. Also, the move slow duration has been decreased from 2.5 seconds to 2 seconds, and they've also reduced the explosion radius from 175 to 125. We're not done yet with Valkyrie though, so moving on into her skyward dive, they have reduced the height of that by 25%. And the launch time has also been reduced from 5.5 seconds to 5 seconds. Coupled with the height reduction, players in the Valk Ultimate now travel upward at a slightly slower speed. Valk coming in with some major nerfs. I know Valk mains, I've got to be dying here in all of that news. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. Moving on to Horizon though, her black hole has had some adjustments to Newt's hitbox to make destroying it more reliable, and also Newt is going to take 50% more damage from explosives. Moving on to Watson, she has had improvements to her perimeter security placement system, and that's about it. But Newcastle has had his Retrieve the Wounded skill changed up. They've increased the move speed during the revive by 25%. They've reduced the turn slow while reviving by 50%. They've increased the white knockdown shield health from 150 to 200, and they've also increased the blue knockdown shield health from 250 to 300. As for his mobile shield, its hit points have been increased from 350 all the way up to 500, and it's been given a double max movement speed. We're not done though, because with his castle wall, they've added a turn slow to the electrical barrier effects, and they've increased the severity of the slow effect movement. Moving on to Mad Maggie, she has had her riot drill projectile launch speed doubled, and with her wrecking ball, it will now travel twice as far while dropping the same amount of magnets. The wrecking ball is also going to deal damage to enemy placeable objects, and they've fixed the wrecking ball not blinding and slowing enemies. Moving on to Rampart, she now ignores friendly collision on amped cover placement. For example, placing walls around teammates will feel more smooth. And moving on to Caustic, they've fixed the gas ramping bug where transitioning from friendly to enemy gas would initially damage for more than intended. So they finally got a fix for that bug out, which is good to see. Moving on to Mirage though, his decoys will now be scanned by Valk when she is skydiving. His decoys will now be picked up by Seer's Heartseeker, and they've fixed a bug where Mirage decoys were picked up by Seer's Exhibit as AI and not players. Moving on to Revenant, his death totem will now show a placement preview when activated instead of placing it immediately. And that is it for all of the legends. There was a lot there and also not a lot there. They didn't do anything to our boy Fuse, so you know we're going to be coming into Season 14 with some knuckle clusters after we get our hands on some Vantage. But let's move on to the crafting update, which is pretty big. There is now team use harvesters, which is where any player on your team that interacts with a materials harvester makes it to where all the players in their team will be given the materials. They've also removed shatter rounds from crafting and hammer points from the base crafting and added the RE45 weapon craft, obviously. But as for heavy, energy, and sniper magazines, their price has been increased to 35 from 25. The laser sight has been added to the crafting and is going to cost 25 materials. Stock and barrel prices have also been reduced to 25 from 35, and they've added the skull piercer rifling hop up to crafting and the double tap trigger hop up to crafting. They've also added the kinetic feeder hop up to crafting, and they've increased the shotgun bolt price to 30 from 25. They've also reduced the 2 to 4 ACOG optic price to 30 from 35. Other than some minor tweaks to how the rings work on most of the maps and some quality of life and bug fixes, that is all of the patch notes for Apex Legends Season 14. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Also, be sure to come and check out this list of bug fixes and quality of life fixes. I could probably make another video entirely just talking about this list, but that is all of the information that I have to go over in this video. I will be streaming Apex Legends right here on YouTube when Season 14 goes live. I'm going to be doing a playing with the viewers and subscribers stream, so be sure to subscribe not to miss out on that and come stop by and jump into some Season 14 with me. Other than that, though, I hope you guys all have an amazing day. I'm out.